thank you so much. I'm here with Misfit, a.k.a. Chris Lawrence, longtime friend of mine.
What's up?
Now, Chris has been a friend of mine since I had heard of you before I'd actually met you. At the time, me and my friend Schrupp were running a record company called Below the Radar Records, and one of the bands on the label was Committed, and they were playing a show with you guys in Philly, and I wasn't able to go because of work, but Schrupp went, and after the show, he was like, I was like, well, how they Committed do? And he's like, they do all right, we sold a few CDs. He's like, there was this one band, though, Wake the Sleeper. He's like, fucking awesome. He's like, their lead singer is like incredible. I was like, really? And he goes, yeah, and he was a big fucking comic book geek. We were talking about comics for like an hour. Yeah. And then we found out, it was like a week later, we found out that you guys were playing at Westchester with Committed, and that's when I got to meet you. And we kind of hit it, you and I hit it off almost immediately, just talking about stupid shit. And,
of course.
And one of the common things from when I talk to people, and I'm like, yeah, Chris is awesome. I'm like, oh, really? Because he's he talks so much. I'm like, listen, if you get him to talk about something besides his band, it'll be the greatest conversation you've ever had in your life.
That's the problem. Like, everybody I'm friends with is all like band related. So everybody just talks music, and there's only so much I can take.
Yeah, but once we get you on a topic like comic books or video games or horror movies, it's all over. Like, all bets are off. And that's what you and I used to talk about online for hours. We would just talk about random movie stuff.
Yeah.
And I think I might have been one of the first people that you started sending the rap tracks to.
Oh, yeah. You actually were the first person that I sent the rap tracks to. The only person besides you that heard the stuff before was Echo the Dawn, who is the guy that helped produce me.
Yeah, and I was blown away. I was shocked at what I was hearing because I didn't... The choruses were definitely you.
Yeah, of course.
And then
you gotta do a
verses,
chorus.
I was like, I don't think this is Chris. Like there was like that first like minute or two where I'm like, I never, in all the years that I heard this kid do this Coheed and Cambria style post-hardcore rock band, never knew that he could actually flow. And that he actually came up, like the lyrics that you would send me are so funny and mixed with dark. Like
that's me.
Now the guest that was just on was Dennis Finicaro, writer of the Z Word.
Oh,
and
cool.
You have a zombie trilogy.
Yes, I do. The Z-Day trilogy.
Now, is there any intention of there being a CD released, or right now is it just kind of online stuff?
Well, right now it's online because you can't. It's hard to find a record deal.
Sure.
Hell, in hip hop, it's hard to find a show, especially with nerdcore, because like a lot of artists tend to just keep to themselves a lot. Like you try to like, hey, what's up? Hey, I just want like. I sent out a couple feelers to some nerdcore artists, and just as a critique, and I've yet to get anything back. So I'm just like, whatever.
I feel like it's a disservice to you to put you in the nerdcore category.
Thank you.
And I'm not saying that to trash on nerdcore because I love nerdcore hip hop. I was actually yesterday listening to MC Frontalot's Nerdcore Rising, and it's a perfect CD.
Dude, I love Frontalot.
But the thing is, the style of hip hop that you do versus Frontalot or MC Chris or MC Lars, like all of those bands, Optimus Rhyme, like they all sound similar to this kind of post-punk laptop hip-hop sound.
Yeah.
Where yours is definitely coming from more of a, if anything, a horrorcore sound. It's really, really dark. And I think that might also... Like, I wouldn't really even label you as a nerdcore rapper. I think you're a horrorcore rapper who raps about nerd things.
I guess, like... and the funny thing is, like, some people, when they hear me talk normally, and then they hear me rap, they're like, it's totally different people, because that North Jersey in me comes out. The little bit of street comes out.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, you're rapping about zombies, and you're rapping about video games and comic books, and... You know, you clearly take a lot of pride in being the nerd or being the geek, but I'd hate to put it this way, but the way you put it out there is much more intimidating. Like, you know, you listen to, like, MC Frontalot, and it's kind of like, yo, man, nerd is, like, the new thing. You want to join our sides, and then your stuff's kind of like, fuck you, Fur!
Well,
Like, I'm legit. You're fucking a fake.
well, it's just like I've had so many things dealing with certain friends that were into certain things, and then all of a sudden they just do a complete 180 on you.
Well, one of the best lines I think I've ever seen you write, you talk about zombie fans and how they talk about Italian zombie flicks that they would have never heard of if it wasn't for Juno.
Oh shit! Oh, the unreleased track.
And that line, I was like, that line's fucking brilliant.
No need for synthetics.
Yeah.
Ah, yes. Oh god. Oh man, I'm trying to remember it now. You think you're big shit? Now you're repping the core, walking around all proud with your 500 gamer score, talking like you know about zombies and gore, sucking Romero's dick so much that you got mouth sores. How you love H.G. Lewis and Argento, you never knew who they fucking were until you saw Juno. Oh, how I'd love to put a drill through your head, Lucio Fulci style, watch you get raped by the living dead. Yeah.
Exactly.
There you go.
Not the most welcoming nerdcore sounds.
Well, that was. Well, when I started writing that,
That was one of the first ones
That was
that
actually-
you ever pitched to me.
yeah, it's unreleased right now because I was trying to find a copy of it so I can re-record it
Yeah.
because I recorded it before with a Guitar Hero mic.
I
And
have
it's-
the original copy.
There you go.
There you go.
There you go. You got some weird shit I forgot I even did.
Well, that was I was going to bring that up. You rap isn't the only thing you do. You still do Wake the Sleeper.
Yes, Wake the Sleeper. We're actually back together. We're finishing The Author and the Victim.
So will this one finally have was it of Monsters and Martyrs you didn't record on that 4-track demo I got?
We have of Monsters and Martyrs. We just started writing a new song. Well, we're putting
I always
finishing
get the
touches
titles
on a new song.
confused. What's the one that's like where he's not coming home to?
Oh, that's the
you?
Critics. Oh, that's Critics' Choice. You're not coming home to him
You didn't
tonight.
re-record Critics' Choice when you did that 4-track demo thing, and I was so pissed because that's my favorite song.
We re-recorded it because, well, we have better guitar players now.
Yeah.
Well, we added a better guitar player. And Tony and Ryan just go crazy. Like, if you come see us live, you'll know
Is that
what
the
I'm
one
talking
where they
about.
do? What's the song that they do the guitars behind each other?
Doing guitars, that's Critics' Choice.
It's so good.
We also just wrote a new song called Purgatory, which is funny because we wrote it as a pop song, but then we put a breakdown in it, and Kevin does like a Blue Man Group type thing.
Nice.
So, and the funny thing, it's a happy song about basically miserying somebody.
Well, and what I like about Wake the Sleeper is that to a certain extent, it's almost like a super group, but it's like
Really?
but it's like a super group of guys who play music completely different than what Wake the Sleeper is. Like when you're not doing Wake the Sleeper, you're doing this horrorcore / nerdcore hip hop. When Kevin's not drumming in Wake the Sleeper, he's drumming in a band like Proven Worth that's like a super pop punky band. Like it feels like none of the musicians in this band.
And Ryan's in a hardcore metal band.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like none of you guys in your other bands do stuff like Wake the Sleeper. Like it's almost just like you all had this common taste in music and you had other projects going on, but like you all are like, no, let's get together and do like this because this is something that is just as equally artistically pleasing as the other stuff that we're doing, but it's completely different. And I think
Oh yeah, completely.
I mean, you look at like someone like Travis Barker, who
Yeah.
does like Blink-182 and stuff like that, but then he does like his solo album or the Transplants that's a completely different drumming style, and I'm sure it's a relief for him to be able to do something like the Transplants. It's kind of just like a steady hip-hop beat instead of always having to be the guy that's doing the fastest drum fills possible.
My feeling is if you do the same thing over and over and over again, you get burned out quick.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I loved when I first started music with 5 Days Ahead. I loved it. It was great. But after a while, writing the emo songs about girlfriends, I couldn't do anymore.
Yeah.
Like, there's just a point where you just have to leave things behind. Where you just have to grow up.
Yeah.
I guess you could say. Like, 5 Days Ahead, I look at it as like my high school stuff. I mean, it was great. I loved it. But now with Wake the Sleeper, it's more artistic, a lot more story-based. Like, the Misfit stuff, some of the new stuff coming out eventually.
Yeah.
I'm working actually with Kevin from Wake the Sleeper on it. It's going to be a whole concept album.
Nice.
Called Brentfield.
You love concept albums.
I love stories. I love concept albums. A lot of my favorite rappers, a lot of my favorite bands are all concept related. Like, you got Rush, Coheed. From story based, you got Del the Funky Homo Sapien with Deltron 3030.
Yeah.
Mr. Lift with I Phantom. Like, I love a lot of the concept stuff.
Or even hip hop artists, like not so much a concept album, but like you have someone like Atmosphere, who the more you listen to, you know him, you know his story.
Oh, I love Atmosphere.
Based on, and I mean, When Life Gives You Lemons is just a series of short stories about fictional characters.
Right.
And they're written in a way that you literally believe these characters are people.
Right. Like, that's one thing I'm sort of proud about with the Wake the Sleeper stuff. And, well, now with Renfield coming out eventually, I'm still working on it. Don't give me a time frame, please.
That's all right.
Yeah. So, like, it's hard to have character development a lot.
Yeah.
Like, when I first started doing concept albums, I was writing stories and all that. And I really, really got into the works of Joss Whedon. And from that, I learned a lot more about character development. Like, maybe you can make this person do this, make this person, like, in the Wake the Sleeper stuff, the author and victim, Wesley Kane's not only a war hero, he's an alcoholic, he has problems with drugs, he has a lot of problems, like, trying to hide his past, and a lot of it comes back to bite him in the ass. Like, there's a lot of character development there, and it's weird because it's 5 characters, and I develop them over one album.
Are you going to go do you have any intention, I guess I should ask, of going the route of Coheed and Cambria, where if Wake the Sleeper gets signed and you're touring, would you do a book or a comic book to further
I've actually been writing
the stories?
I've actually been writing a novel because there's a lot with 5 characters.
Yeah.
And I had the idea to write a novel before, like way back, just thinking, okay, what can I do with this? What can I do with that? And I just kept going into backstory, and there's no way I could fit that on one album. And I didn't want to go the Coheed and Cambria route of having 7 albums of the same thing. My band would kill me. I one-shot stories. One-shot stories, I like that a lot better because I think sometimes they're more memorable.
Well, and that's the thing. For someone like me,
but
I know only a few Coheed and Cambria songs here and there, and it feels awkward. It's tough to want to get into a band where you feel like you've got to make like a 5 CD commitment to this band.
well, the big thing about what I'm proud of with the Wake the Sleeper album so far is every song can stand on its own, and it's all about a different thing.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. But if you put them all together, it tells this big, huge story.
See, and that's cool.
Like, there are certain...
Because there's bands like a group like Me Without You, who I absolutely love. You take their first album, and, like, if you play just an individual track to someone from that album, they don't appreciate it the way if you sit down and you listen to those 12 tracks, and you realize, like, oh my god, this is just one giant poem that just keeps going.
Oh, yeah.
Then you're like, oh my god, this is brilliant. But if you just listen to, like, one song, you're like, this is just a guy screaming over top of music.
That's like a lot, like the Protest to Hero album, Fortress, and Keziah. Like, you hear one song, you're like, okay. But you hear the whole album, you're like, whoa.
And I think that's one of the things that is also hurting record companies, again, is that you look at, like, stuff like, record companies aren't doing anything to help record sales. They complain that the record sales are low, but they're not, I once heard someone say, I'd rather see us go back to the 50s style of music where artists just release singles. They release an A-side, B-side single for like $2 so that you're going out and you're buying $2 on a product you know is worth purchasing, as opposed to hearing one song on the radio and going, oh yes, I want to make a commitment to the other 23 songs on this CD.
Because that's the problem. Like, a lot of bands, a lot of artists will have that one song that you love, and then the rest of the album is filler. Like,
and that's the other thing is that the guy was talking about with the single days, all they need to do was write the song. They didn't have to think in the concept of we need at least 13 songs. They could just focus on what song was important to them and work it out and perfect it and release it.
Right.
Instead of like, okay, these are the 3 that are really important. We need to write 10 more songs in the next month to make sure that this album has 13 tracks so that the label's happy.
Right. Like, I think the fans of like our stuff and the fans of Coheed and all those other the other bands that are like us
have a loyalty to the story.
They have a loyalty, and also you hear that one song, it hooks you, and you listen to the rest of the album. Well, nowadays with MySpace and like they have listening parties, and iTunes and stuff like that, you could check out a couple other tracks and make that decision. I mean, the record industry is mad about the whole internet thing, mad about how people can download stuff and BitTorrent stuff, but here's the thing: you're overpricing your CDs like crazy. Half of them aren't that good to begin with.
Well,
People are going to download.
The example that I heard, not related to music, was on the Nerdist podcast. Jonah Ray was talking about how he went to Borders. Borders was closing, and they were doing like 40 or 50% off all the books. So he grabbed every book that he wanted, and then he took out his phone and he checked all the books on Amazon. And with the exception of one of them, every single book he was holding was still cheaper on Amazon while Borders was putting the 50% off. He goes, that's how overpriced these things are, and that's why these stores are closing.
Right.
If they just accept the fact that, okay, if we lower these prices, we'll be losing money at first, but people are going to go, all right, it's $10 to buy it at Borders, it's $9 plus $3 shipping and handling online. I'll just spend, it's
and also
cheaper
Amazon,
and I get it immediately. Yeah. I don't have to wait for it.
And also Amazon.com lets you try out Amazon Prime for a month, and then you can cancel it, and you can keep doing that as many times as you want.
Yeah.
And you can get it within 2 days.
Well, that's how my buddy got my buddy found a loophole to get free Xbox Live.
Oh, yes.
Where he found out that if he went to Kmart, they had a deal. I think it was Kmart or Walmart. One of those places had like a buy an Xbox game and get 2 free months of Xbox Live. And he found out that it worked as well for like the shitty $5 bin game. So he would just every 2 months buy a $5 game from Walmart and get 2 months worth of Xbox Live
Grab
for
the
$5.
And then return the game.
No, he'd keep the game. He's got a collection of the worst games ever.
Viva Pinata. Ouch.
I think he bought Bejeweled Blitz, so that's like a fun game.
Bejeweled Blitz, yeah. I thought you were I thought you were talking about Blitz the League. I was like,
yeah. All right, well, that is all the time we have for. Where can people go to check out the songs? ReverbNation.com/MisfitNXC and MySpace.com/Wake the Sleeper PA. I may make a Reverb Nation page for Wake the Sleeper. If I do, I will give the link up at the show. All right, thank you.